What's up, snappers? Welcome back to the channel. DDDREWSKY here. Today we're gonna be looking at the brand new card Prodigy to see if he's worth your precious resources. We're gonna be looking at his key Synergies Counters and some decks that I brewed for him. But wait, before we do that, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel. I do weekly reviews of the brand new card in Marvel Snap, so if you don't want to miss out, hit that notification bell right now. And let's get back into it. So now the question is, who is Prodigy? Let's take a look. So Prodigy in Marvel Snap is a 3-cost 4-power card with the on reveal ability if this is in the back row, copy the text of the card in front of it. So I believe the ability is very strong in Marvel Snap. If you're able to copy an ability, is very good.
Imagine that you copy cards like Ant-Man, Moonstone, even on reveal cards. Marvel Snap devs have confirmed that Prodigy can copy on reveal cards, so that brings up his value tremendously.
So I believe he's very flexible, and there are ways to temporarily fill a lane if you need to position him in a certain way. The power of copying a card in a certain lane is very powerful in Marvel Snap. So to explain how his ability works, he copies the card directly in front of him. So if he's in the 3rd slot, then he copies the 1st card. If he's in the 4th slot, then he copies the 2nd card. Now let's take a look at the pros and cons of Prodigy.
So the first pro that I want to talk about is that it's a good power for a 3-cost card.
We know that 4 power is definitely on average to being a very good value card. So he can copy on reveal abilities. The devs have confirmed that this interaction works. I feel like that brings up his value in a tremendous amount. It's not only ongoing abilities. Most people will probably think that like he works well the best with ongoing, but for him to copy on reveals is insane. He also has great ongoing abilities that he can copy. There are a lot of ongoing abilities that I will mention that will work well with him. There's cards like Ant-Man, Moonstone, even Victoria Hand, cards like that he can copy is going to be really good in Marvel Snap.
So now let's talk about the cons.
Dependent on positioning of previous 2 cards. So it really depends on how you can place your board. It really matters the order of how you place certain cards. And you have to make sure that you are positioning him in a way that you can copy their ability with Prodigy. Another con about him is that decks that move cards are very popular in Marvel Snap. Just imagine cards like Polaris, Spider-Man, those Scream decks are still around in the meta, so be careful of the positioning of Prodigy. It really depends on the position of where he's at, so if he gets disrupted, then that's huge, tremendous value that gets dropped from Prodigy. If he copies an on reveal ability, it should be okay, but usually if you want to stack an ongoing lane, then Prodigy usually should be in that lane. So another con about him is that it makes your plays very predictable. It really depends on the situation of your board state, but if your opponent is guessing of where you could potentially be playing Prodigy, then they can kind of figure out which lane they can, counter. So I would say more or less Prodigy loves stacking lanes. So if an opponent knows like what you're doing in that lane, then it's very predictable, and being predictable in Marvel Snap is not really good. Now let's take a look at the keys, synergies, and counters for Prodigy. So the first synergy that I want to talk about is Sam Wilson, Captain America. His shield is the main synergy for Prodigy. You could use that shield to fill a certain lane at a certain moment in time to have Prodigy copy, one of the cards in front of him.
Moonstone is another great synergy with Prodigy, especially if Prodigy can copy Moonstone. That value is tremendous in that lane.
So more than likely, if you have 2 Moonstones in that lane is definitely yours. Another great synergy is Galacta. Of course, you're going to be running Prodigy in the later turns, maybe 5. Probably more than likely not 6, but it could happen. But if you can copy Galacta with Prodigy, having 2 of her is insane in a lane.
Now let's talk about the counters. Cosmo is a counter, of course. Prodigy is an on reveal card, so Cosmo will definitely stop that ability. Enchantress is more of a counter if Prodigy copies a ongoing style list.
Alliath is another great counter to Prodigy, especially if they have Prio, then Prodigy's on reveal will not happen. Be careful of the Cloud.
Now let's take a look at the decks that I brewed. I think they're pretty fun and competitive. Let's take a look.
So the first deck that we have is called Ongoing Prodigy. This is my take on the ongoing style list. I think Prodigy will do very well in this list, especially not having to prioritize on the positioning of certain cards, but most of the cards here in this list, being able to copy them with Prodigy, tremendous value. So Ant-Man is a great staple in this list. Prodigy can copy Ant-Man, so great value in getting that +4 power even for Prodigy. Goliath is a staple in this type of list. More ongoing cards. Goliath loves ongoing. Ravonna is here to discount cards like Mystique, Iron Man, even Mr. Fantastic. Sam Wilson, Captain America, just like I mentioned, his shield has a lot of synergy with Prodigy. You could use that shield to temporarily fill lanes and then have Prodigy copy a certain card in that lane for you. Mystique is really here to copy cards like Captain America, Mr. Fantastic, Iron Man, and even Moonstone. Mr. Fantastic is great in this list, especially being played in the center lane. Rogue is really here to counter cards like Mobius, especially him being very popular in the current meta. Captain America is really here to benefit with the shield with Sam Wilson's. Prodigy here doesn't really have any bad hits. The only card that you're more than likely won't be able to copy is Spectrum, but everything else in this list you can definitely copy with Prodigy. Moonstone has tremendous value in any lane that she's placed in here, especially like a lane with Goliath or Captain America, Mr. Fantastic. Those are the cards that I usually want to aim for with Moonstone. Iron Man is just a great finisher in this list, especially if you can copy Iron Man with Mystique. Those two lanes are more than likely yours. And then Spectrum is a great finisher with all these ongoing cards. That +2 power is insane.
Now let's take a look at my second list.
Now this list is called Prodigy Stacks. The ideal goal of this list is to stack a certain lane and then reap all the benefits of copying those cards and building up power in certain lanes. Kitty is great in this list to temporarily fill certain lanes and just build up power. Tina is just a staple with Kitty Pryde, being able to play her with another card and just building up that power. Surge is a brand new Series 5 card been added to this month. She brings tremendous value by discounting energy and adding more power to this list. Angela is great, especially if you're trying to build up power in one lane.
Definitely run her with Athena and Kitty Pryde.
Sage is really here as a finisher. Definitely run her probably the last turn into the game. Rocket, Raccoon, and Groot are great just to temporarily fill a lane. You definitely can even copy them with Prodigy, but more than likely they are great just to counter your opponent. Red Guardian is an awesome counter right now, especially in the current meta. You definitely can use them to stop Mobius. Elsa Bloodstone is great in this list, especially when you're filling lanes or temporarily filling lanes. And can even use Prodigy to copy her ability. Hope Summers is a great fallback for Surge if you're not able to draw Surge or play Surge. But if you can get that +1 energy is great with Hope Summers. Prodigy has tremendous value in this list, especially copying cards like Elsa Bloodstone, Hope Summers, or even Surge. You could also use Prodigy to copy cards like Galacta and even Iron Man. Galacta is great, especially powering up cards with +3 power. You can definitely play her in a separate lane and then start juicing up those cards in a different lane. Iron Man is a great finisher in this list, especially if you can copy Iron Man with Prodigy. You get double Iron Man in one lane. That lane is definitely yours. Now let's take a look at my third and final list. Now this list is called Prodigy Surfin. This is my take on the Silver Surfer archetype. I think Prodigy will fit well in this list.
So we have Forge to boost up power in this list. Definitely great value of him in being in this list.
Just like I mentioned, Sam Wilson, Captain America's shield is a must with Prodigy. Definitely helps out plan your curve or your positioning for Prodigy. Brood is just a must have in Silver Surfer, filling up certain lanes. And you can even cap them off with Captain Carter. So Silver Surfer is used on the later turns,
but you could even copy Silver Surfer potentially with Prodigy, so you could have 2 Silver Surfer procs.
Killmonger is just a staple against all those pesky Thanos decks that we're seeing right now, so Killmonger is a must-have in Silver Surfer. Red Guardian's value is tremendous right now in the current meta. You can use him to counter Mobius. Prodigy has tremendous value in this list.
The only cards that you want to avoid to copy with him are the Broodlings, Ice Cube, or Cap Shield. Other than that, copying the cards here should be fine.
Sebastian Shaw is our power card in this list.
You can juice them up so many different ways with Forge or Galacta and even Silver Surfer.
Luna Snow is here to get more energy for this list. You could use Killmonger or Red Guardian to get rid of the opponent's Ice Cube. Galacta is just a staple in Silver Surfer, especially adding +3 power to any cards in this list. And then Sarah, of course, discounting cards is a must for Silver Surfer. If you get those
3 costs to 2 costs, then you could run three costs on the last turn. So definitely tremendous value for Sarah.
Now let's take a look at the snap packs that are with Prodigy. So Prodigy is with Surge, Captain Carter, Elixir, and Zorn. So Surge and Captain Carter are already out in snap packs. Prodigy is coming out on May 13th. Elixir May 20th, and Zorn on May 27th. So it really depends on your resources and how you want to manage the seasonal series 5 pack. You can get cards like Goliath, Kahori, Infinity Ultron, Strange Supreme, Hydra Stomper, and Captain Carter.
I would say Captain Carter is definitely a must-have. You saw the Silver Surfer list that I built. Definitely a must potentially with Prodigy. So I would say definitely is safe to use your seasonal series 5 pack.
And like what we saw from last week, Surge is definitely very good in Marvel Snap. So I would definitely say Surge is worth picking up if you don't have her. So remember guys, to have 5k tokens before opening a pack like this. You definitely don't want to regret missing out on a card that you potentially want. And you can always wait and see to see how Prodigy does. Now let's take a look at the community predictions for Prodigy. So the community has said S tier 7%, A tier 21%, B tier 54%, and C tier 18%. So the community is very strong that they believe that Prodigy is a B tier card.
I'm not sure if I really agree with that, but we will see. I'm definitely very hopeful that he can definitely be better than that, but maybe they just don't know or realize where he can, fit in.
So here is a response from the community. Thank you, Jutron, for your comment. They said,
not counting him out, could be a solid A if used in the right decks.
A lot of people may think about Surfer, but I figured he is better for things like ongoing, tribunal, and negative. The example is doubling
Moonstone, Iron Man, etc.
So I agree with the statement 100%. He's definitely very flexible in the decks that, they mentioned, and even the decks that I brewed. So definitely very flexible.
And if you can copy Moonstone, Iron Man, just like they said, very good.
Negative is very interesting call out. I believe that, copying a card in any deck really is very strong, but, copying a card from a negative deck is crazy.
Tribunal is very interesting too. We don't really see it that much anymore in the meta, but maybe it'll bring it back. I don't know. We'll see. But I do like the shout outs, Drew Throne. Thank you again for your response.
Remember guys, if you want to be featured in the next video, just look out for my community post about the brand new card in Marvel Snap. And thank you guys again for your feedback.
Now let's take a look at my star ratings for Prodigy. So for competitive, I gave him a 3.5 stars.
I believe that he definitely has potential of being very good, but there are pitfalls of the positioning and getting countered.
So I'm very skeptical on this card, but we saw cards like Captain Carter being a 3-cost card being very good. So we will see the situation of Prodigy, if he can copy cards
and how reliable it is.
Consistency is really key in Marvel Snap. So we will see if Prodigy is one of them. Fun factor, 4 stars for sure.
So there are cards that can copy like Moon Girl,
Nico, Frigga, that a lot of people have fun with. So Prodigy is very similar in that way. So fun factor, 4 stars, very fair for him. So for flexibility, I gave him a 4 stars. Look at the decks that I brewed. Look at the decks that are mentioned from the community. I believe that his flexibility is really good. He's technically a plug and play card, especially being able to copy on reveal. It's not only for ongoing, so tremendous value. You can even copy cards like Dracula, for example, right? So there are situations where he can definitely be a plug and play card. Future changes, I gave him a 2.5 stars. I believe that potentially if he's considered broken, definitely getting nerfed. I don't think this card's gonna get buffed by any chance because his ability is very good. So potentially in the future, a nerf.
Now let's take a look at my final review of Prodigy. Is he worth a snapper skip? Let's take a look. So for series 1 to 2 owners, unfortunately a 1/2 star. I would say you're gonna be missing a lot of cards that work well with him, even though technically he's a flexible card. So the decks that I brew with, they're definitely requiring cards that are 3, 4, and 5. So I would definitely say steer away from Prodigy. For series 3 owners, I gave him a 2.5 stars. Unfortunately, you're gonna be missing a lot of cards that are 4 and 5 that work better with him. So I would say 2.5 stars. And then for series 5 owners, 3 stars. Unfortunately, a lot of the brand new cards work well with him. So if you're missing a lot of the brand new ones, then it's gonna be kind of rough, but I would say 3 stars. You should be able to build a certain deck with him, so you should be technically safe. So the decks that he can work well with are Ongoing, Kitty, and Surfer. And with that being said, I would say Prodigy is a snap.
but with an asterisk of you can potentially wait and see how he does. My only worry about him is just the whole positioning of cards, the whole back row, and especially him copying a card directly in front of him. So it really depends on your, you know, planning it for the future of where your cards are being positioned, right? So you can't really just position cards, oh, based on curve or how Snap is usually played. So if you want to copy a certain card, you have to make sure it's positioned in a certain way, or, you know, the stars might have to align with him. But for him to be able to copy on reveal cards is crazy. And for him to copy a lot of the ongoing cards that exist in Marvel Snap, definitely worth it. So I would say flexibility for this type of card, definitely worth having. But again, I would definitely say err on the side of caution. You definitely can wait and see for this card. So what are your thoughts on Prodigy? Am I completely wrong? Did I miss any synergies? Did I miss any decks that he works well with? Let me know in the comments below.
And if you found this video useful, please give it a like. Please subscribe to the channel.
I would love for you to be a part of this amazing community here on YouTube.
And I'll see you guys in the next Snapper Skip. Happy snapping.